6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI. 6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing good. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future, and of course share it with your friends. It does really help out. But as always, a bunch of markets to get through. What is up, King David? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. As always, we'll start with the USD side of things first, go through the DXY, USD majors, gold and silver. Then we'll take a look at our perps platform, share that with you guys if you haven't checked it out. And of course, if you do have any pairs, any markets you want me to take a look at, drop it in the chat. If you have any specific time frames as well, or any trades you want to share, you can drop that in the chat too, or of course just any general questions as well. Put it in the chat, engage guys. I'm joking. But anyway guys, we'll go through a bunch of markets. We'll start with the dollar as always, which was interesting because we did have CPI, which did cause some bearish momentum, but it looks like that has turned on a dime because it looks to me that price is a little bit bullish now, or at least this morning anyway. So I'm a little bit, again, the direction isn't clear with the dollar. It's very messy, as we can just look at the chart. You don't have to be, a specialist to say that the market is sideways. Market hasn't really trended well. So in terms of direction, it is still very much up in the air. And in terms of my long-term bias, I'm very much being very reserved with that now. At the moment, it looks like price is more or less holding support, and perhaps we're having a bounce. We did have a big fake out early in the week, which was this move here. As price broke below support, then recovered, it looks like to some degree we are still respecting that as support. And if that is the case, we could see price rally to the upper end of the range, which will take us to around 98.6 in and around this area here. That could be the move dollar is prepared to make. If I am going to be bearish with dollar, then I do want to see clear signs of price breaking again outside of this range, but more or less taking out this low. If price can take out that low, especially with some pace, some impulsive price action, that would be a clear sign that, okay, we well and truly are breaking out of this range. And probably at that point, you are going to see a continuation back to the lows here at 96.4. So I would be pretty bearish on that at that stage. But at the moment, it looks to me that we've had the fake out, price has recovered the range, and to some degree, we are still kind of respecting as support. It's not clean at all, but I would suggest that price is still above support and rejecting it right now. And we're seeing some strength this morning, although this candle still does have 2 hours before it does close. But we are seeing some strength, and price is reacting as support. And the biggest takeaway is that price is really messy. So don't try and get too carried away with the intricacies and the smaller moves, because you probably get chopped around. You want to focus more so at the extremes of this range, buying at the lows, selling at the highs, and the middle is where all the noise will be. And until price does make a sustained break, whether it's to the upside, whether it's to the downside, we'll find out hopefully soon. And in terms of trending opportunities, they should follow afterwards. But as of now, Still difficult to say, but it looks like support's holding, so I do have somewhat of a bullish bias on the dollar. So taking that into euro, we're pretty much seeing that copy and pasted with the price action here with euro dollar. So again, you've got the upper end of the range more or less here. Of course, this was the fake out at the start of the week alongside what DXY did. And this, of course, would be the low of the range. You've got price consolidating there as well. So this is price back and forth. And at one point at the start of the week, it looked like we had the breakout, and I was talking about price potentially, pushing back to highs over there. And that was the plan. But I did say price does need to stay above this area. If we do break back within the range, that plan goes to, it goes up in flames really, because now we're back underneath resistance, we're back in the range. The choppy conditions we once had is still in play. And for the most part, it does look like price is respecting resistance. If I draw an area around that high, take it across, we're still seeing rejection at the highs here. So potentially euro again could be in for a move down. If the DXY is going to rally, that should take euro lower. And since we are still trapped within the range, it's not a bad place to be looking to a short. I'm not the biggest fan of the trade, so I'm not jumping in myself. I do have a couple of USD pairs which I do like the look of, which we'll take a look soon. But this is not a bad opportunity. Stops above the high there, or if you want to be a bit safer, stops above the high there. And just looking for a swing to the low of the range does make some sense. Price is back at resistance. You're using the fake out to your advantage. Any early sellers of the market would have been taken out with this move here. So now potentially you might see that real momentum come in and see a push to the low end of the range. But of course, equally with this move, we do need to stay below this. If price does close above, hence why having a stop loss above the highs there makes sense. Or of course, if you want to give yourself a bit more room, you can have it above the highs there as well. But yeah, if we are going to see a push down, we do need that resistance to hold. Likewise with DXY, we do need that support to hold as well. But at the moment, we are rejecting well, and it looks like that's the case. Pound USD having trouble at the highs. I did say I wouldn't mind some shorts on pound, and I don't mind shorts on pound, to be honest. Just looking for possibly more of a short-term move, but I do want to see one more push higher. I want price to take up the highs here and then get the sell, just so I can get my stop loss above this resistance and position myself well in the market. Because as with euro, I kind of see pound in the same light. Basically a market that's ranging. We have key support below us, key resistance above us, and price has done a good job to respect both of those areas and stay trapped inside. So the best ways to trade pound USD in my point of view is, again, looking to pick the lows or looking to pick the highs. And I would be happy picking the highs here. Yes, price more or less is respecting resistance right now, but I would like price to be a little bit higher before taking that position there. So yeah, I would hope to see price spike higher, take out 1.359, and then hopefully see price roll over from then onwards, and then maybe a push back to 1.33778. So yeah, that would be the plan there with pound USD. In terms of dollar CAD, so dollar CAD is a pair which I do like the look of this week, but not quite fitting the plan. I did take some shorts earlier this week, which didn't go to plan either. I was looking for a push into the supply zone and a move down. Didn't quite see the momentum kick in. So I'm looking for another short opportunity on dollar CAD, this time back at the highs here. Similar idea, looking for price to top out basically and see another high form and us to roll over. From a weekly perspective, we are testing very key levels of resistance. Looking to the left, I've talked a lot about this level. It's a very, very significant level in the market, and you can see every time we get there, we've seen some very violent reactions and very big moves as well. And this could be viewed as a massive fake out. Price exploded through the level, only to come back equally as violent, equally as impulsive back below. And now we're still testing the top end of the range. So as long as price can remain below that, I do think within due course, price will eventually roll over back to these lows, so on and so forth. So I am pretty long-term bearish in dollar CAD. So if I can get some shorts at the high, although it is a little bit more on the risky side of things, because you could definitely argue dollar CAD is in somewhat of a bullish trend here, but it's a very flat one, not really seeing much momentum. We are still seeing aggressive selling pressure at the highs. So I wouldn't mind trying to take my chances with this. So Dollar CAD shorts look good, but I would wait for a pushback to 1.392. Also, this move here is really corrective. So it's not like we're seeing very impulsive price action and a lot of bullish momentum. The market is very, very flat and very tired. So if we do get back to highs, reject well, I do think there's a likely chance we top out and price does make a drop. So shorts and dollar CAD look good. Equally though, shorts and Aussie dollar look good as well. And it's funny because they're both opposing biases, if that's a word, biases. I think that's a word. But yeah, I'm looking for USD strength with Aussie dollar if I'm looking to short it, or I'm looking for USD weakness if I'm looking to short dollar CAD. So there are opposing directions at play there. Of course, one will probably play out and one will probably fail. Which one, I do not know, but I'm going to keep an eye on both. At the moment, Aussie dollar did make a really aggressive move past this high. I did say yesterday this was at the top of my watch list. Aussie dollar shorts at this high, looking for an entry and a push down. I did say I was going to wait till after CPI to enter. Again, all my entries on the 4-hour chart anyway, so by default I had to wait till after CPI to take the trade because that's when the 4-hour candle is going to close. But after CPI, we got a really aggressive wick down and a pretty strong close there. So that was a sign that, okay, momentum is still just about with the buyers. Not necessarily showing much because we're still trading at resistance. So this is still a good selling opportunity. But we are still seeing strength, so be cautious. And then, of course, the following candle came through thick and fast and really did break above that level. Although the shorts are still valid, but I would need to see price push down pretty aggressively back below the level. Support and resistance is not always perfect. Not always price will react, perfectly or bang on a level. Sometimes it will breach the high of a level and redeem itself, and vice versa with support. So if price does come crashing back down really well, I don't mind taking a trade like this with an entry similar to this, stops above the high, and I'll be happy with that trade because my stops are already in a really good place. Because if this is going to be a fake out, I shouldn't see price come back there. If price does come back there, I'm probably in the wrong direction. The trend's going to continue higher. So I quite like the stops from that perspective. The entry's near enough at the high, and I'll be well positioned to take advantage of any move down if that is going to be the case. So I'm still keeping a close eye on Aussie dollar shorts, although it's not looking promising right now, of course, with all that momentum. But the market can surprise you, especially if the DXY is going to make a move up. That should help Aussie dollar push down. So we'll wait and see if that does develop. If Aussie dollar just continues to trend higher, I would ignore it. The market's bullish. No shorts for me. New Zealand dollar, same thing here as well. Strong push up, but again, not really seeing that continuation just yet, so I still am a little bit mixed. We are coming back to supply here. For this zone to be disrespected, if price was to break above the high there, that's when the bearish bias is completely put to bed. Of course, we have broken out that channel, so that was the first sign that the market could be shifting from bearish to bullish. We've had a really nice bearish trending market, lower lows and lower highs. Then recently we did see the break to the upside outside of the channel. So that was a sign to say that, okay, maybe the sellers are not going to play out anymore. But we were still respecting supply. So that is still a confluence which could take us lower. Again, trend lines are not necessarily the most trustworthy confluence. They are good. I use trend lines. I use counter trend lines as well. But of course, I'm still aware of market structure, and this is still an area which price could go against us. And of course, if USD is going to be strong, it's going to be difficult for us to continue. So I'm going to keep an eye on to see how we do maneuver here. This could still be a nice area for a sell, but I probably would wait for us to maybe form a somewhat of like a double top before shorting, because we're still creating higher highs and higher lows. So I do want to see the market kind of fail at highs or show some really aggressive selling pressure. And that could be a nice short. I do like Aussie dollar a lot more, so I'll put my eggs in that basket for now. But still could be an area to short. And if, of course, price does break that structure, then I'll completely shift to bullish. And at that point, we'll be looking at these highs as targets. So that'll be target 1 and probably target 2 if we get the break of structure, of course. As for gold, yeah, gold just a little bit flat, but we did see some type of continuation there. We were speaking quite a lot. In fact, if I go to the hourly chart, we're speaking quite a lot about two areas for buys. We spoke about the low here as a nice place for a buy, kind of like a nice bull flag pattern. I actually posted a video about how to trade this pattern. Really common pattern. You see it pretty much all the time. And very nice opportunity there for a push. And of course, the CPI did help that trade as well. So there was a nice rally. We also spoke about this area below. I said if this area doesn't do its part, if we do break, then this will be the next area of interest, around, well, just below 3,600. Of course, that level was not needed, at least not yet anyway. Nice buying opportunities. I did say, though, for gold, don't be too greedy with targets, though. I said a pushback to highs here could be a nice place just to close the trade, or at least take a decent chunk, because I still do think gold is quite overextended. Of course, gold can still go higher, don't get me wrong. Gold can still go higher, but depends how you want to manage your trade. I think if you're really trying to take advantage of gold to the highest degree, trading stops will be the best way to go, because you don't know how far gold can trend, and if you're just trading stops, you put yourself in the best place or best position to take advantage of that. If I was trading it, I'd probably take most of my profit off at the high here and leave the rest of the trail, because yeah, we are quite high. I don't necessarily trust the market to completely explode. Maybe we do see another bullish leg, but yeah, I would take profit at the highs there. But yeah, as for next for gold, you probably, again, if you're looking to buy, I wouldn't be looking to short at this moment in time. So I would still be buying, or at least looking to buy. So again, if you're looking for another buy, it would be back at the lows, kind of repeating this pattern here, just about sweeping the lows, then a buy. I would look for the same thing. Or maybe we see a bigger push down into that demand zone, and then we see the buy. But in terms of entries, this is the general location of where we want to be finding our entries. This area here, yes, maybe price does rally, but I wouldn't necessarily be overly confident buying into that level, even with how bullish gold is. And silver doing its thing as well. Really nice rally. What chart is this? This is the hour chart. Okay, I thought I was on the daily there. I was going to say what the... but yeah, I mean, the daily chart doesn't look much different, does it? Yeah, no. So yeah, very, very bullish stuff there from silver. We broke out the consolidation. Nice strong close. I believe that was after CPI as well. And the rest is history right now. So pretty straightforward with silver. Very bullish market. You're looking for your pullbacks. A nice zone there to keep an eye on. If price can pull back to that level, could be some nice buying opportunities there. Take it back to highs, and then so on and so forth. Similar to gold. If you really want to take advantage of silver to really kind of maximize your rewards, you're looking for those trading opportunities, trading the stops, because we don't necessarily know how far price can go. Again, we do have the long-term targets at 50, which is where the all-time highs are. So that's where I do expect silver to push towards, but of course we can have some pullbacks before then, and then things can change, but I still do think there's more room. But in terms of the current momentum, in terms of intraday, yeah, buys are still your best bet. I wouldn't try and look to call any tops for now anyway. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. USD is still kind of, I'm not too sure what price is going to do. It is at support, it is respecting it well. So I do have somewhat of a bullish bias until we break through that. But it's not something I'm overly confident with. There are some USD pairs I do like, dollar CAD and Aussie dollar in particular. So I'll keep an eye on both of them. But yeah, long-term bias, it's difficult. Anywho, King Aussie dollar just broke that range and retested. Which range? You're talking about the recent high? Yeah, it did have a very violent break of that. Very violent break of that level. I'm still looking to see if I can catch the short. I'm not quite convinced with this bullish move. Of course, if price does just go and take out highs again, then yeah, we are probably going to continue higher. But if you do come crashing down, I don't mind still taking the short with the expectation that this was a bit of a fake out at the high. Yeah, maybe early sellers bunching up in there, taking out with the news, and then we see the move down. How many times have we seen that happen before? So I'm still a seller, or a wannabe seller of Aussie dollar because of where we're trading, but I have to be cautious. That was a lot of momentum. Yeah, maybe price is generally going to continue higher. That could be the case, so I'll have to watch out for that. But I'm still keeping an eye. LFTJ, I think weak early. Yeah. Again, pound yen, the conditions are horrendous right now, so I wouldn't take it personally, LFTJ. Pound yen is absolutely horrendous, especially on an intraday chart. It's been chopping around. So quite frankly, I would stay away. But yeah, there's no problem, brushing it off, taking the week early. It's Friday anyway as well. Come back strong next week. Good morning, Dimar. Welcome to the stream. John, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Carry trades with me. Euro higher today, being Friday due to the anticipated. Okay, yeah, possibly. Aussie and Euro could explode higher. I'm expecting DXY to break below, which has been standing at support today. Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for something to happen, to be honest. Do I expect USD to go lower? Not really, to be honest. I mean, I'm kind of neutral. I'm not trying to put anything on it. At the moment, support is holding. Until that breaks, that's when I'll become bearish, really. I mean, it's not like I'm going to actually put any trades on to predict that. But if price does push down and start to break the lows, then yeah, I would be bearish on the dollar. If, of course, we do find support, there is room to the upside, and price potentially can continue the range of what it's been doing. But yeah, Euro and Aussie, I mean, they both have been relatively strong. Aussie's been pretty strong recently. Could see that continue. Euro's been not as strong as Aussie. Actually, yeah, Euro-Aussie did fall out the sky, didn't it? So, yeah, Aussie's been a lot stronger. But, yeah, we can definitely see some strength continue. What's up, Bashi? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell. All that good stuff does really help out. And, of course, drop any chats and we can discuss. Expect Euro, Aussie, and NZD to have an explosive up move today. What do you think? I mean, I'm looking to short Aussie dollar. I'm not looking to do much with Euro, to be honest. New Zealand dollar, still in supply. It could do. I'm very much just keeping an open mind. I'm very much just looking at the opportunity. I don't really have a bias necessarily of what I'm expecting Aussie itself to do. There's a few Aussie pairs which I do like. Keep an eye on Aussie CHF. I'm keeping an eye on Aussie CAD. I quite like Aussie CAD to the upside. I'm looking for pullbacks, but that's way into next week or maybe in the week after. That one's quite overextended. And I'm keeping an eye on Aussie dollar shorts, but I need a lot to happen before I do take a short there. So yeah, I don't really have a bias. I'm just looking for good opportunities really at the moment. Okay, Bashi, take care, my man. Okay, no problem. Happy Friday. Hopefully we'll chat to you next week. Have a good weekend as well. Okay, GJ had to break even, ran up. Of course, you're not going to catch every trade. Some trades are going to take you out break even. Some trades are going to be losses. And the condition of GJ are absolutely horrendous. So, yeah, if you're going to get chopped up, it's going to be in those conditions, 100%. But yeah, guys, we'll take a look at our perps platform quickly. Then we'll go through some requests. And we'll go through some Aussie, NZD pairs, Euro pairs for John. And we can take a look at pound yen as well. And of course, if you have any other requests, drop it in the chat. But as you can see on the screen, that is our platform. We've been working hard to get running and operational. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go do so. I have linked it at the top of the chat. It's pinned at the top so you can't miss it. I do have a full video on the channel kind of going through how it works and how to use it. But it allows you to trade perps. At the moment, we only have cryptocurrencies on the platform, but more markets will be coming soon. FX, indices, other markets as well. Again, if you haven't traded perps before, it's fairly similar to trading CFDs. You're speculating on price. You're looking to buy with the hope that price goes higher, looking to sell with the hope that price does go lower. You can manage the trades as you would do with pretty much every platform. You can set orders, set limit orders, manage stops, manage take profits. You can scale in, scale out positions as well. And the beauty of it is you do have your own personal AI assistants called Miko AI, funnily enough, in the top left corner, which will give you analysis on risk, the sentiment, and it will give you some 4-hour setups, some ideas you can look to incorporate in your trading, and you can connect to the platform with any Solana, Ethereum wallet straight away. And if you don't have one, you can use your email, but I would recommend to use it. And very, very soon we are running a competition on the platform. Again, just a bit of fun, get people using the platform. There will be cash prizes for the best performing traders. So if you haven't checked out the form, I will link it in the chat. More details about the competition will be mentioned soon. But again, just a bit of fun, trading some cryptocurrencies. And if you do well, you get a nice cash prize as well. So win-win situation. But yeah, guys, check it out if you haven't done so. Yet. Yusuf, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so we'll take a look at pound yen first, and then we'll go through some Aussie NZD pairs as well. So with pound yen, a couple people complaining about the price action, and if I was trading it, I will be complaining as well, because this is so choppy. And this has actually gone on for quite a while. This dates back to 14th of August to the 12th of September, so pretty much a month of just absolute nonsense, really. So yeah, not a fan of the price action at all with pound yen. I still think price can potentially break higher, and that's really what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to see if price can explode high. It looks like we're slowly hinting at that with these higher lows. You can see all these higher lows building up there. Potentially we're hinting at price breaking to the upside. Of course, I'll believe it when we see it. But if we do manage to break to the upside, it's a pretty significant break if we can do that, because this resistance level dating back to October 2024, wow, almost a year ago. If you can break through that, the next big level for pound yen would be the highs there, 207. I've been mentioning this for quite some time. I expected price to actually break through the level by now, but it's been taking its sweet time. If we can manage to see the break of this level, then that becomes the next target, and hopefully we can see some trending conditions start to appear again for pound yen. I mean, arguably it has been trending to some degree to the upside. It's just been very flat recently. But hopefully if you can see a strong break like this, that really opens up the opportunities for buys going into next week or the week after and trading that higher. As long as I don't see any major signs of reversal, I'm just going to be looking to buy pound yen, buy the lows with the expectation that we're going to see higher prices and eventually hit that resistance up there. Similar to what euro yen has done in the higher time frames, I do expect pound yen to kind of catch up. So you can see euro yen, major resistance back over here. We smashed through that. Lovely uptrend, and now I'm expecting euro yen to push back to the highs. Very kind of identical price action. And I think euro yen is just going to eventually end up back at the levels there. So I'm expecting pound yen to follow suit. So I quite like that from a swing bias. Of course, the intraday, which is where you guys have been doing the business, has just looked really choppy. So I've just been looking to stay away. I did mention, if you are looking to trade pound yen, if I had to, it would just be looking to try and sell the highs and buy the lows. And I mean, at the moment we are pushing back to the highs again, so there could be some short-term sell opportunities to look into. Personally, I'm not so interested. Like I said, I'm kind of waiting for the breakout there. We are seeing a bit of yen weakness at the moment, so maybe that is coming into play, but we'll see if that can really develop and push through. And until we get the breakout, I'm not really looking to take any positions really on pound yen. But as for Aussie pairs, like I said, it's a bit of a mixture because I do quite like shorts on Aussie dollar, but a lot needs to happen for me to get this short. This is the opportunity I was speaking a lot about yesterday. Of course, we've seen an explosion higher. This could be a legit move higher for price to continue. That could well be the case. I'm also looking to see if this is a fake out, then there's an opportunity for me. And if that's the case, I need price to come crashing back down pretty hard to show that. Otherwise, I'll stay away. And we might see price retest and continue. So yeah, at the moment, Aussie dollar looking pretty bullish. I mean, going across the board, a lot of Aussie pairs have been bullish. Aussie has been a very strong currency as of late. I mean, look at Aussie CAD. That is loving life right now. A really big move to the upside, taking out the highs here. As we can see, I do like this to the upside. I do think there's a lot more upside to come for Aussie CAD all the way back here. And with all this momentum, all I'm looking for is to catch some type of correction and then catch the next move. If you look at Aussie CAD and how it operates, it doesn't move normally in straight lines. It will have a big move here and there, but it will have corrections and it will have frequent pullbacks. So although price is looking, very, very bullish right now, and it's not really showing much signs of slowing down, there will be a correction at some point, and that will be the opportunity I'm waiting for to find a buy, take it back to highs, and maybe hold on to 0.93443 if things are looking really good. But yeah, Aussie CAD, really bullish stuff there. Of course, CAD's been pretty weak as well, so that is helping out. Euro Aussie took a big dive yesterday, as we can see here, I believe, breaking through support. So really aggressive price action there from Euro Aussie. I think Pound Aussie made a move down as well. Pound Aussie is actually in an interesting place because we could be breaking out of consolidation, which would make me very bearish on this pair. So as you can see, we've got the consolidation there, equal highs, equal lows. We have technically broken out of that. Of course, we could still recover it, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. Quite frankly, I want to see the breakout push on a little bit further before I'm really confident with this breakout. But if so, if this is legit, then I'm expecting us to push back to this kind of area at least. Big psychological level here at 2. 2.00000, very big kind of stand out-ish psychological level. So I do think price can be attracted towards that area, and a lot of buying pressure came from here as well. So quite naturally, I think price will revisit this zone eventually. So yeah, Pound Aussie, the breakout could be in play. Like I said, I want a bit more downside before I do get excited, but basically the game plan is, okay, we've got the breakout, now looking for that next pullback. Maybe it's going to be the retest of the low of the range. It would be nice if it is. Find some entries and then hopefully ride this back down to that area, or at least to the prior low, wherever that does form. So yeah, Pound Aussie, interesting. Quite bearish. Looks like Aussie strength has really, yeah, I mean, thinking about it, looks like Aussie strength could be set to continue. We've seen a lot of it recently, but if Pound Aussie is going to keep falling, if I'm going to get Aussie CAD to that level, which I just mentioned, then it is going to rely on Aussie being quite strong. And also Euro Aussie, that's an interesting one. That's also broken out of the support level, which we just mentioned. But also, I did say if we do break structure here, then I do see Euro Aussie pushing back to the lows here. Again, I probably want to see a slightly bigger breakout to really confirm that, because it's only just pinched the low. And again, we could very much reverse to the upside, similar to what we did there. So I wanted to see a more kind of convincing break. But yeah, I would expect us to continue to lows. And again, that does fit the bias of more Aussie strength into the market. So yeah, John, I can see potentially Aussie doing that, especially from the technicals I'm seeing, and especially from the higher time frames. We could be seeing more Aussie strength there. And of course, we've seen breakouts on Aussie dollar. We've seen breakouts on Aussie yen as well. Aussie CHF too. So yeah, potentially we could be seeing a lot more Aussie strength coming to the market. If we're going to get back to these lows, we're going to have to. And likewise with Pound Aussie too. So I'm not quite ready yet to be shorting Euro Aussie or Pound Aussie, but we're getting there. We are getting there. I mean, this is a nice range. Nice consolidation, nice push down. Maybe we do pull back, put a lower high in, and that could be a nice trade there. Again, still a lot needs to be done before that opportunity does come into play, but it's an idea there. So yeah, interesting price action to say the least. Okay, so we'll go through Yusuf. Yeah, we'll go through Euro and GU on the 15, no problem. Okay, MB, a little prayer to Bashi. Don't see anything wrong in that. King, what's up? Any shorts on Euro? Yeah, we can take a look. I'm not quite convinced on the price action Euro, but I do think we can see some downside for it. If price does hold resistance, that is. Okay, we can take a look at that that position. Geez, you got that really specific there. But yeah, we can take a look at that. First, I'll go through Euro and Pound USD on the 15. So with Euro, this is basically the level I'm looking for price to hold. If price can hold that, then there's room to the downside. If price manages to break back above this, then we're going to look to repeat this breakout, what we saw at the start of the week, and then hopefully actually see price continue off that, because the price has been pretty simple for Euro USD. We've been ranging between support and resistance, and the plan has been simple. If price was to break the high of the range, then I'm looking for us to return back to 1.18, which is the high here, 1.83 to be more exact. So if we do break this resistance, I'm bullish again on Euro. If we respect it, which at the moment price is doing now, we could very much see another move back to the low. So I'm 50-50 in that situation. At the moment, price is respecting pretty well. I quite like that wick to the upside. I'm not quite convinced yet. I mean, drop to the hourly chart, how we looking. I mean, it was a nice close. I can't disagree against that. So at the moment, price is doing a pretty good job at respecting resistance, and I'm pretty sure DXY is doing okay at respecting support as well. So we'll see how this candle does close in the next hour and 19 minutes, but it is showing some strength at the low here too. For me to be bearish, as I said, support needs to break. Support needs to break. If support breaks, then yeah, I'll quickly turn my bias to bearish. But at the moment, it's not the case. I mean, I'm not really looking to trade Euro, that is, but if I had to, shorts at that level makes sense. Either stops above the high here or above the high there. So let me drop to the 15 for Yusuf. So on the 15, let's just clear the chart so we can see it a bit more fresh. On the 15, what are we looking to do? Not much really. I quite like the sells at the highs. If price was to push there again, I think that could be a nice pace again for another short at the highs. Because again, you are kind of in that area on the 4-hour chart as well. But to me, it looks like we're starting to form somewhat of a range here. I wouldn't be looking for any type of continuation trade. So no kind of like, okay, push, I'm looking for a pullback and a continuation, because we're not trending really. You could argue there's a slight uptrend, but I wouldn't get too carried away in that, to be honest. I would be looking for more short-term moves, trying to pick highs, trying to pick lows. Even with the short I just mentioned here, I wouldn't be looking for this per se. I would be looking for this. Maybe if things go very well, you might leave a position to run for that. But it's more so just looking to sell high with the expectation that price will reject resistance to come back down again. So if I was looking to trade Euro, it would just be looking to focus at the highs, really. The buys at the lows here look a little bit awkward. Yeah, I'm not quite convinced with that at the moment. I think the shorts here make the most sense, really. Just in terms of positioning, especially if you can see a healthy rejection. Not looking for a big move, a push back to support makes sense as well. There is room to the downside if we do really break out. If price was to rip through the high, so let's say price was to do something like this, okay, that's a bullish sign there. Because then you've got the impulse. This is your consolidation / pullback. And then you've got another impulse. Okay, at that point, yeah, you're looking for pullbacks and more upside. So that would clear up the bias and clear up a trending opportunity, impulse, correction, maybe a retest of the high, and then some bias following that. That becomes a nice trade to take, but we're not quite there yet. And of course, price may never do that. It may fail at highs. So really, the focus will be here. That's kind of where I see Euro for now, but very, very difficult conditions on the 15. I would say, not very. I mean, it has been difficult conditions for a while, to be honest. As for, is it UJ you mentioned? Yeah, dollar yen. Yeah, this is looking horrendous. Okay, as for dollar yen, we respected support again this week. We've got the highs more or less up there at 148.766. As for the 15, like I say, it's in the middle of nowhere, so I wouldn't really do any business here. I don't really see much value in where we're trading. This is where the value is. This is where the value is. Taking the shorts at the highs, taking the buys at the lows. That's where the opportunities does lie. And it just makes things a lot easier because you're not trying to predict too much. You're just looking for us to either reject support, reject resistance, or breakout if you're looking for the breakouts. In here, it's kind of, okay, price can do a bunch of things. We can maybe respect the high, we might start trending a little bit, we might respect the high shortly, then start trending. There's a lot of question marks here. There's no kind of overall direction to the market as well, so I can't use that as a confluence. It's not like there's an uptrend or a downtrend I can use to my advantage. Momentum seems to be all over the shop here. Of course, we are approaching resistance, so by default, it's not a bad place to short, but again, I just don't see much opportunity here, or quality of opportunity here. Of course, there could be opportunity anywhere, but it doesn't necessarily mean you should take it. So yeah, I wouldn't really be looking in the 15 for that. Any time frame for that, really, just because of where we're trading. This is where most of the resistance is. Not resistance, this is where most of the chaos is, most of the indecision is. So I wouldn't really be looking to do too much in here, to be honest. As I would say, even from a 50-minute chart, I would still be looking to sell at the high or buy at the low. Anything in there is kind of just noise to me. I don't see much opportunity. So if I was on the 15, it still would be a push to this level or that level. 15 hourly, maybe 5-minute. You might try and sculpt something in there, but even that, I would still wait to the high. And that's where you'd be at your safest. So yeah, UJ not see much either, to be honest. Euro, there could be some shorts at the high there, which I don't mind. And of course, UJ, if you do push to the high or the low, I think that again will be a nice place for a trade. But in the middle, where we're trading now is very, very noisy. As for euro dollar, okay, King, you've got some shorts on euro. We can take a look at that. Okay, sell limit at 1.17255. It's more or less around there. You got a stop loss 1.1755. 1.1755. Okay, so that'll take you above the high. And take profit 1.6349. Okay. I think there might be a typo there. I think you mean 1.6. Because if you talk about 1.6, that'll be very far away. Uh, 16349. That's around there. So yeah, okay. I don't mind it. I like the location. I like the stop loss placement as well above the high. That's basically what I've been referring to. As long as price is gonna hold that level, then the shorts make sense. This is the level you're essentially shorting from, and you're banking on this being a fake out, price coming back to retest, somewhat like a head and shoulder pattern, and then you're looking for us to respect that and head lower. So yeah, I can see the logic there. I don't mind the opportunity. I think you're shorting in a safe place, stop loss in a safe place, most importantly. Targets, not looking for anything too crazy. I think target's a pretty smart placement, to be honest, because this area of demand did give us a new high there. So this is definitely an area to watch out for. Yeah, of course, we do have support below that, but there is a world where we do see a push down, but the market does put a higher low and still attacks higher. So I think you're in a smart place to lock in gains, and where maybe buyers can enter the market if they are going to push price higher. And you're looking at a pretty decent risk reward, as you said, a 1 to 3, pretty healthy if you ask me. So, oh, that rhymed. But yeah, looking really good. There's nothing I would necessarily change with the trade, to be honest. Located at the high of the range, you're using the fake out to your advantage. Stops are back at the high as well. Of course, if you want slightly safer stops, you could put it above the high here. But of course, that will dramatically reduce the risk reward. You're probably looking more so like a 1-to-1, which again, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. You got a safer entry, more likely to not get stopped out. but of course your risk reward will be reduced. Here's a little bit more aggressive, but if it pays off, it pays off. So yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind at all. Logic looks good. Location looks good. Take profit in a good place as well. I like the trade. I like the trade. I mean, if I was going to take a trade, it probably would look exactly like that. But I'm not a big fan of euro, so I'm not going to take a position here. The only two USD pairs I like, dollar CAD for now, Aussie dollar for now. Raphael, late to take a pound short now. Okay, we can discuss that. Yusuf, no problem. Okay, only Aussie CAD giving you clear opportunities. Please, what's your thoughts on that? Okay, yeah, we can go for Aussie CAD as well. Yeah, I'm very bullish on Aussie CAD. Only looking to buy. Is that Aussie CAD on the 15, Yusuf? I assume so. Is it too late to short pound USD, is that what you said? Too late to short? Personally, I would like pound USD to be a little bit higher before I short it. Is it too late to short now? Depends on your time scale. Depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for like an intraday push, probably, because you've kind of already started that, you want to be probably as close to the high as possible before shorting. So I would argue you're probably a little bit late to the party. If I dropped like an hourly chart, you're now pushing back into kind of demand here, in a more bullish territory, because you could look at this as somewhat of like a smaller range here. There's your highs and there's your lows. If you're going to take a buy, let's move this out of the way. If you're going to take a sell, sorry, you want it to be in this territory. If you're selling now, you're going to be greeted with support right away. So you're going to have to be a bit watchful of that. I mean, it's technically never too late to short. It just means you're taking less advantage of the move. So it's up to what you're comfortable with. Personally, for me, as I said, I want to see price push a little bit higher so I can get my entry at fresh highs. That's kind of my thought process with pound USD, because this is a very significant level. I do believe if price was to rally into that, maybe wick through the high, there could be a nice push to the downside from it. So I quite like the idea of shorting pound USD there. And of course, if pound USD does break out, that's great as well. I'll be looking at a push back to the high here, and the plan will be some pullbacks on the way up too. So really, no matter what price does, I do have a plan for both directions. But is it too late to enter shorts now? I would probably tend to agree with yes. Again, if you take an entry here and your stops are there and you're looking for like a big push here, then technically not really. You still got decent, pips to catch there. But if you're intraday, I probably would say yeah, because you got support not too far away, and that's going to be your first obstacle to deal with. Price may break through, but if it doesn't, you're going to be in a tight situation. Okay, yep, we can take a look at Aussie CAD. What's up, Elolo? Welcome to the stream. Good morning, good morning. Any markets you're looking at, feel free to share. Okay, so let's take a look at Aussie CAD. So yeah, Aussie CAD on the 4-hour chart, I actually really like it. I'm actually going to be actively looking to buy this one next week. The only reason why I say next week is because I need a pullback, and that's going to at least take a few days to develop, maybe even the week after. But emphatic break to the upside, a lot of momentum. I quite like that. It makes things very, very simple when there's a lot of momentum in the market, because it's either you're looking to go against it or follow it. And I'm looking to follow it. I still do think higher prices are likely. I'm still looking for a push all the way to 0.9344. So the plan is looking for pullbacks all the way up in that direction. So yeah, I'm just waiting, to be honest, waiting for a decent pullback. As for the 15-minute chart, yeah, market's still looking really bullish. Look at that from CPI yesterday, naughty stuff. That would have done a good job at taking out some early buys there. I say early, but of course in hindsight it's early. It could have been right, but of course nasty wick. And then yeah, lovely continuation. In terms of Aussie CAD now, I don't mind the buys here, to be honest. Price back at key support here as well. There's still a lot of momentum in the market. Seeing some strength come in. This candle's about to close in about 5 minutes. I don't think that's such a bad opportunity for a long. Stops underneath the low here. You're positioned well at this area, at least for a push back into supply. Maybe price does form another lower high and it does come back down, but you can probably still lock in some gains here. Come into a bit of a counter trend line or so. Maybe price does rally to new highs as well, but I think you are well positioned for a buy on the 50-minute chart. I think you are well positioned for a buy. I'd still wait for that candle to close. It still does, 4 minutes left, and it could still pull back and look weird. But if it does close with some strength, close near the highs of where the wick is, I think that's a smart trade in itself. And as I said, a push back to this area here, I think will be a smart move. That will be a smart move. And then, we'll go from there, because we could very much put a lower high and pull back. Because I'm expecting the Aussie CAD to pull back. It's very overextended. I know we can always go a little bit higher, but this is a pair which chops around quite a lot and has frequent pullbacks. So although, yes, we could still see price run highs, we're going to get that pretty soon. And that's where I'm going to come in on the 4-hour chart, hopefully. But yeah, as for 15, you keep buying until proven otherwise, really. So, yeah. At the moment, the 15 looks pretty good. Rafael, if pound used to go so. Yeah, I mean, that's always the question, Rafael. Will price reverse? We don't know. As a trader, one of the key fundamental components of being a good trader is buying it and selling at good areas, really. Location is very important. There's going to be times where you enter a trade, well, every time, really. Enter a trade and you don't know if price is going to reverse up. You can't see into the future. Of course, if pound USD is going to push higher, to the high I mentioned. So if price is going to push to this area for the sell, then of course DXY will probably push down, because of course we need some dollar weakness for that. Maybe pound USD does rally and does push up. Well, then we probably don't get a trade, or if we do take a trade, we take the loss. As long as you manage risks, it's not really, it's a part of the package. And that comes with every trade you take. You could short here and still take a loss. You could short anywhere on the market and still take a loss. So that risk is always there. The point you just mentioned can be mentioned for any situation, any trade ever. So the risk is always there. The reason why I want price to push higher is because I'll be shorting at a better location, right at resistance, maybe even taking out highs a little bit, so I can use that to my advantage. Any early sellers in the market here probably will be taken out, and I could use that to my advantage to take a push down. Of course, maybe price is going to rally, and maybe price is going to break higher. That's where waiting for entry confirmations does come into play. And even with entry confirmations, you can still potentially lose a trade as well. That's where managing risk comes into play. But I know that if I do catch that trade, the risk reward will look really good. So if it does play out, the reward will be more than worth it. And I'm very well positioned to take that trade as well. Here, I'm not as well positioned. So yeah, with your point about maybe it doesn't reverse up, maybe it doesn't reverse up from where it is right now. Who said DXY is going to push up here? It might do, it might not do. So there's always that risk inherently. The plan is just to take a good trade, really. If you can take a good trade, the rest that follows is up to the market. Oh, yes, that was worked out before the move. Yeah, again, that's CPI for you. I mean, that's news in general. Again, not every CPI event will be as aggressive as yesterday was. I mean, yesterday wasn't very aggressive. We've seen way more aggressive CPI events. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the drawbacks of trading news or holding through news, especially on an intraday time frame. Things like that can happen. You can get wicked out. Of course, on the other side of that of the coin, sometimes news will go in your favor. Sometimes you'll be in a trade and price absolutely explodes in your favor and you're looking really, really good. And that news, just sped everything up. But of course, it comes and goes. Just like trading, you'll take wins and losses. news will sometimes be for you, sometimes be against you. The only trouble with trading on the lower time frames with news is slippage. Higher time frames, not as much as a problem. Lower time frames, especially with high lot sizes, especially if you like a 5-minute or 1-minute chart, and you've got limited room for error, 5-10 pip stop losses, 3 pip stop losses maybe. Slippage can increase your risk tenfold. Maybe you're risking 1% in the position, you might walk away for 5% loss. So that's where slippage and spread widening during news can get quite ugly, which is why people on intraday timeframes tend to avoid it. From a more swing bias like myself, with lower lot sizes relative to the positions I'm taking and larger stop losses, I can stomach news a bit better. Of course, I will still get slipped from time to time, but if I'm risking 1%, maybe I lose 1.5. At the most, maybe 2, and that's for a very violent one. And that's maybe if I had a slightly lower lot size. But rarely it's more than that, because I've got more room for error. If my stop loss is like a 60, 70 pips, sometimes it can be more than 100. A bit of slippage is not really going to do too much damage. So you have a bit more luxury to hold through news. But if you're in an intraday chart, be careful. Those wicks can be quite dangerous, especially if you're not managing a risk. It could change things. But again, like I said, with trading news, sometimes it's for you, sometimes against you. You just have to make a conscious decision if you're happy to hold through news. If you are, then continue trading. If you're not happy to hold through news, then avoid it. You don't want to be kind of back and forth. Some weeks you trade news, some weeks you don't trade news. And when you lose, you're emotional, and when you win, you're like, yeah, let's keep trading news. You don't want to be like that. You don't want to be flip-flopping. You want to kind of have a decision based on news. If it's going to be, you're going to hold or close, and stick with that. And then review after like 6 months if you want to maintain. But yeah, that is unfortunate. Hey, what's up? Follow the trend. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm doing good, my man. Dollar yen long opportunity. Okay, King, we can take a look at that as well. Follow the trend. Gold buy worked super well. Yeah, it did work. I saw that. Nice move to the upside on gold. Yep, with the news release. So, of course, you can see there on one hand, gold longs did favor, the news did favor, followed the trend there with the gold buys. Unfortunately for Yusuf, it didn't there. And that's, again, next week, potentially follow the trend could be on the wrong side and Yusuf could be on the right side. That's the thing with news. It's not so much trying to predict the news release, because it is really 50-50, especially when the news is just released, of course. If you have a bit more of a long-term bias, it's slightly different, but that's the news for you. 1 week will help you, 1 week it can bite you. But yeah, very, very nice move on gold. Take profit 36.50. Yeah, we more or less got there, didn't we? Back at resistance. I was actually looking for a pullback to the range. Is that asking for too much? Okay, let me take a look. I'll go through dollar yen in a second, by the way. Just because I was on Aussie CAD recently. Pullback to the range. I assume you're talking about this range here. It's not too much. It's not too much to ask for. It's the next level below. So if the market is going to make a pullback, a big one anyway, it's probably going to be to that area there. So you're not asking for too much here. The key thing to look at is how we get there and how we react. Because if we kind of sell off a cliff and look really aggressive, I would be a little bit cautious of that. If it's nice, slow and corrective, then yeah, I would be expecting momentum to continue and us to at least fight for higher prices. We might not get there, but at least show some intent. So yeah, this is a nice area. Of course, this will be a nice area of demand, consolidation, wick down, and then really violent move to the upside. If we do get there again, there's a good chance price does see somewhat of a bounce. But how we get there and how we react will play a big role in that. So do pay attention to that for Aussie CAD. But yeah, I think this is also a smart place for a buy. Of course, if you're not comfortable buying here, don't buy. But you're not necessarily asking for too much. It's not too far away. And because the market is quite stretched, it is a possible move. But yeah, keep an eye on how we get there. In terms of dollar yen, King, you mentioned a long opportunity. If I've missed out a pair, let me know. I feel like I've missed out what someone might have mentioned previously. If that's the case, just drop it in the chat again. But dollar yen long opportunity, I'm not quite seeing that until we break out the range, to be honest. I'm actually looking at some buys right at the low here. So with this wick low here, I'm looking to see maybe if price can run the lows, recover, and I can get a nice little buy there. I'm keeping an eye on that. The other buy opportunity would just simply be waiting for price to break the high of the range and then look for pullbacks afterwards. And of course, you got the high here to look to trade. But this is the opportunity which I quite fancy. Similar to my outlook on CAD yen as well. Looking to see if price can pinch the low and then see a bullish move. Because we do have somewhat of bullish structure to follow. Market is making higher highs and higher lows. So you could have somewhat of a bullish bias. I'm looking to see if I can catch that next low for the next swing. But this is just range bound price action. So at no point am I looking to do anything in the middle there. That is where I want to stay well away from. So the plan is either looking for price to break highs and then follow momentum afterwards, or wait for price to be right at the lows. I can get a nice stop loss, maybe kind of catch a wick to the downside as well, and then see if I can take the bounce there and at least trade it back to the high of the range, maybe if I'm lucky a breakout. So yeah, that's what I see for dollar yen in terms of buying opportunities. But where we are right now is just in a maze, so I wouldn't do too much there. What's up, Innocent? Welcome to the stream. Seeing head and shoulder on. Okay. Are you talking about pound USD, Euro USD, gold, Aussie dollar? Okay, yeah, USD pair. Okay, yeah, I get you. We can take a look at that. Let me know if it's on a specific time frame, though. Let me know if it's on a specific time frame. But I shall take a look. Follow trend, however, GA went against me, took a loss after the break. Yeah, that did manage to break support there. It's going to be interesting for GA now. Is this the breakout for price to really continue low, or is this maybe another fake move? I think the next 1 or 2 days will probably really clarify that. Jeremy, what's good? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Exactly. 1 week is luda. 1 week is loser. 1 week is winner. Exactly. That's how it goes, and that's where risk management comes into play. Because even with a sub 50% win rate, if good risk reward, doesn't have to be anything spectacular as well. 1 to 2, we'll see you be profitable, and that's where managing risk, taking losses, taking wins, and managing everything in between comes into play. So yeah, if you do take a loss, if you do get wicked out on news or whatever the situation is, the key thing is not take it personally. Of course, that's where the emotions and the psychology comes into play. And of course, when you do take a win, don't take that personally either. It's not like you cracked the code. It's just probability was with you on that trade. Stay humble. Make sure you focus on the next positive opportunity and repeat the process. You don't want to get too carried away with a big win or a big loss, because both can be detrimental, really. Okay, so GA would take a look at pound, euro, gold, Aussie would take a look at for those head and shoulder opportunities. Hey, what's up, Michelle? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Yeah, not every week's going to be a good week. Bunch of L's, but things still into the gold position. Yeah, I mean, that's where the swing trading comes into play. But yeah, again, you're going to have some tough weeks in the market. There's 52 weeks in the year. There's about 50 kind of full trading weeks in the year, because of course you get that break during Christmas, and there's a few bank holidays here and there. But about 50 weeks of the year. And within those 50 weeks, you're going to have some amazing weeks. You're going to have some really, really tough weeks, of course. And how you manage that will depend how tough they are and how good the good ones are. Of course, you don't want to be too tough in terms of blowing an account. That's a bit too tough. But of course, you're going to have some ups and downs. And the key thing is managing yourself throughout those weeks and making sure you're following that process, reviewing your trades as you go along, and having some process, some approach to the market which you can stay consistent with. Because for all those weeks, there's going to be turbulence, there's going to be up and downs, and you need to be consistent through all of them. And that's really where the progression lies. If you're doing something this week and changing it the next week, then of course you're not going to get a rhythm go. And I think rhythm in the markets is crucial as well. And by rhythm, I just mean approach, taking the same trades, know exactly what you're looking for, managing well, exiting well, entering well. Having that kind of just in rhythm is will allow you to kind of achieve the results you're looking for. But yeah, there's going to be some tough weeks in the market. Absolutely. Anyway, we'll go through pound USD. Now we'll go through Euro Aussie and try and find those head and shoulder opportunities. If you're talking about inverse head and shoulder, I see exactly what you're on about. Left head, right shoulder, of course neckline. You're waiting for that to break and then upside back to highs. So I can see that in full swing. If you're talking about head and shoulder, I'm not quite seeing that. Unless maybe talking about this over here, but then that's kind of already come into play. Left head, right shoulder, that's the neckline. We've already seen that kind of come into play. Didn't really see a continuation from it though, or at least not yet anyway. But I'm not really seeing a head and shoulder. Again, if it's on a specific time frame, let me know. But 4 hour wise, I'm not quite seeing that. Gold, I think I know what you mean by the head and shoulder on gold. But again, that's kind of already done its thing. Left head and then the right shoulder there. And then we had the drop, which kind of broke through the neckline to a degree. So I would not really be focusing on that head and shoulder pattern anymore, especially with a pullback this big. So I'm not quite seeing it there. Euro USD, you mentioned as well. This one I can see more so, but again, I'm not looking at any kind of quality head and shoulder patterns, because you can look for a head and shoulder pattern wherever really, but you want to be taking the good ones, the ones that are quite clear, obvious really, and position well. Maybe Euro makes the most sense in terms of where it's positioned, but I wouldn't say it's a pretty clear-cut head and shoulder pattern. And Aussie dollar, I'm not too sure about the head and shoulder pattern with this one kind of at all, to be honest. Price just broke through some highs, so yeah, I cannot see any head and shoulder pattern here really, unless maybe you're talking like 5-minute chart. Okay, yeah, maybe you are. I mean, this is the 15. Left head, right shoulder. I mean, not bad, to be honest, not bad. I like it because essentially this is basically a range and price has broken that. So if we are going to continue this, you're looking for a pullback and a lower high. So there's actually not a bad opportunity there. I don't mind this one. Nice break to the downside, healthy momentum. If this can stay corrective, maybe start to form some lower highs, that could turn into a lower high for a short. Basically, back into this supply zone. That's your lower high there. Pull back into that, and that could be a nice short back into the low. So that's not a bad one to keep an eye on. But maybe that's probably more tradable on like a 5-minute chart to get a better entry. And push back to lows. So yeah, I can see some logic there. Out of all of them, I think Aussie makes the most sense, because that one's kind of just seen momentum, we've just seen some strength lower, whereas gold, euro, pound kind of had some big pullbacks, and momentum's not looking as fantastic at the moment. So yeah, Aussie, not bad. I don't mind that one. But yeah, as for pound Aussie, big break to the downside yesterday. This could be the start of potentially a new trend forming, because we have just been stuck in this range for quite a while. So it's either price is going to continue to stay range bound, or it's going to eventually break out, and it looks like we've got the latter. So as long as price doesn't see a move back inside the range, as long as we can stay below, I am looking for a lot more downside for pound Aussie. I quite like this area, big area of demand. Price consolidated here, ripped to the upside with quite a lot of momentum. And now I'm basically seeing if price can come back to retest that zone. So yeah, I'm pretty bearish with pound Aussie if we stay below this level here, 2.047. I do want to see a bit more downside first before I do start to look for pullbacks, because the breakout is a little bit shallow in respect to the size of the range here. You know, if a range has a big kind of width or height to it, I do need to see somewhat of a decent, significant breakout, because this could easily be a fake out, similar to what we had with DXY at the start of the week. So I want to see a bit more downside, then sure, I'll be happy to look for some pullbacks, maybe the retest of the area, and then hopefully a little higher. But that, again, probably can take a week or two to develop. So I'm not going to speak too much about that, but we are hinting at a breakout. So for now, not looking at buys, more focus on the sells here. If, of course, we do recover the range low, then we can speak about buys again. But let's just see how we develop before we start predicting too much. Trading's more about a reacting game. Price has done something, we're reacting to the breakout. Perhaps we are looking at a short bias now. Doctor, Euro USD slanting for head and shoulder. Yeah, we just went through that. It looks like it could be the case. I'm not completely convinced. I'm not really looking to trade Euro, but I'm keeping an eye on Aussie dollar. I'm keeping an eye on dollar CAD. Those are the two USD pairs I quite like the look of, and I'm looking to see if there's opportunities. They're not quite there yet. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream, my man. Hope you are doing good. Welcome, welcome. The early birds were short at. Time to morph into a mouse now. Exactly. Early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. How the markets? Interesting. I've got a couple of pairs, well, 3 pairs, actually more than that. About 4 or 5 pairs actually, which I'm keeping an eye on. None have quite developed yet, so I'm on the sidelines at the minute. Aussie dollar, I was talking about some shorts yesterday. I still quite like the shorts here, but nothing yet. Really aggressive push higher. This could be a situation where the market does fly and does continue. We have seen some USD weakness, but more so Aussie strength here. More so Aussie strength. USD hasn't been that weak. Aussie's been pretty strong here, so we've pushed up. If we are going to roll over and see some bearish momentum, I do think there could be some nice shorts here to take. If I can get a nice push down, I'll treat this as a big fake out really. And then I'll look for entries like this, stops above the high, and then a push down, potentially. But a lot needs to happen before I do get the entry confirmation for that. Dollar CAD, I like the shorts as well. Pretty much the same pattern. Looking for a push back to the high there as well, and then looking to take this lower. I quite like dollar CAD because we're nice and corrective on the way up. We're not really seeing much convincing bullish momentum right now, so that leads me to believe that we are tiring and perhaps getting ready for the reversal. There is probably a head and shoulder pattern in play right now. There's your neckline, there's your left, there's your head, and this possibly could be your right shoulder. Now, I don't normally look to trade head and shoulder patterns like this. It is a pattern that I do trade from time to time, but I'm also counting on a push back to the high, more so because that'll be a better overall location for the sell. I'll have a better stop loss, better entry, probably better risk to reward as well. So I quite like the opportunity at the high. If price does dump here, it goes without me. There's not much I can do, but I quite like the location of the high there. And every time price does see a new high, we see aggressive selling pressure come into play. So kind of banking on that happening again. And then, yeah, a push back to the lows here, and then probably a push back to the lows there as well. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for dollar CAD. Double head with right shoulder down and left shoulder forming ups. Okay, let me have a look. A double head, interesting. We've got a little bit of a mutation here with Euro. Double head. I'm seeing a singular head, which is over here. So I'm kind of looking at this as like a left head, and then this as potentially a right shoulder. Not quite seeing the double head. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Left head, right. But again, I'm kind of forcing it a little bit. It's not clear cut to me, so I'm not too overly excited with the head and shoulder there. USD CAD looks almost picture perfect for a head and shoulder. This, I feel like I'm reaching a little bit. But my focus anyway is not really the head and shoulder. It's more so what price does at this level. Does it break through? Okay, I'll be bullish if that happens. If it does respect and reverse, I'm bearish. That's where my focus is. Innocent for our head and shoulders in inverse. Okay, yeah. The only one I can see a clear one is pound USD for the inverse. Maybe euro as well, if you're looking at this. Left head, right shoulder as well. I can see that for euro as well. Gold, not really. And then Aussie, potentially, we've got that head and shoulder on the lower time frame. But euro and pound kind of in a similar situation. Big Guapo take on DXY. Yeah, we can take a look at that as well. Junior, what's up? Hope you're good. Seeing on euro pound, no problem. No need to apologize. I haven't actually looked at euro pound, so you're all good. I'll take a look at euro pound for you, no problem. First, I will just go through dollar quickly, then we can take a look at euro pound. King, euro yen, pound yen demand zones are active. Okay, we shall investigate as well. But yeah, my take on DXY is a little bit neutral. I don't really have a clear-cut swing bias for this one. Oh, this candle's pulling back quite a lot. We've got about 38 minutes before it closes. That's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't really have a clear-cut bias with the DXY just because we're still stuck in the range. The reason why I was pretty bearish at the start of the week is because we had the breakout. I've been hinting at a move down for the DXY because of all these wicks to the upside in the weekly chart. If you look closely, we've got price support, taking that across, now acting as resistance. We're seeing multitude of wicks to the upside here. So it's like, okay, if price is going to break to the upside, it's going to need a lot of energy, a lot of strength to see that happen. So coming into the week, I was like, okay, we're probably looking at a bearish bias here. But above all, price does need to break out of this range. So I was banking on a push down, which we did see to some degree. So that's why Monday I was talking, okay, we're going to probably see some sells. I was shorting dollar CAD at the time, didn't play out unfortunately. I was looking for a push down and then of course the continuation. But no, we kind of got a bit of a fake out, price recovered. Now it looks like price is kind of respecting support, although it's a bit 50-50. We'll see how this candle does close. If it does close with that wick, it's a bit of a mixed bag really. So for me to be bearish on the DXY, I need to see that drop again. I need to see price break support again and show momentum. And if we get that, great. I'll be bearish on the dollar, looking for a lower high and a push to these lows. And at that point, you probably see euro rally, pound rally, Aussie rally, New Zealand rally, so on and so forth. Dollar CAD fall. So this is the circumstance, the situation I need for me to become bearish on the DXY. Otherwise, we're still trapped in the range, and if we respect support well, we could see a push to the top end of the channel here. So that's why I'm kind of just neutral-ish. I'm kind of just waiting for a bit more development before I do really have a bias. As for euro pound, this one I am a little bit more longer term bearish. I'm kind of gearing up for that opportunity because the way I see it, euro pound's had a really nice rally. It has since then just been stuck in a bit of a consolidation. So as we can see, price has made its way back to resistance. It's tried to break through. It's had some trouble. We formed a high over there, formed another high. It looks like we'll form another lower high here. So I just see strong bullish trend range. So now essentially it's a bit 50-50 which way price breaks out. We might see the continuation of this trend if price does break high as well, and then so on and so forth. Or if this is going to be a bit of a top, if we do break to the downside here, I do think we can see a pretty nice bearish trend come into play and some lower lows and lower highs back to this area here, 0.84. I do think we can see price make that move. So going forward with euro pound, I quite like the look of some shorts, but I need price to break this low before we do get that trending condition, hopefully. And then we can either look for the retest of this area or some retest on the way down somewhere. But again, very hypothetical. We need that break for things to really come into play. As for right now, we're in the middle of the range here, so I wouldn't really be looking to bother trading inside here because it's really messy. Price is fluctuating quite a lot. No real safe place for a stop loss either, so I'm not really seeing much of an opportunity to trade in this area just because of how messy it is. I think if you're looking for like a short-term buy, you might find some luck off the low here because it's a pretty significant level of support, and price has respected it on numerous occasions. So if price was to get there again, show some nice rejections, it could again be a nice short-term bounce off that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with Euro Pound. Very flat pair. If I'm looking to trade this, I would at least wait for a push to the low and then hopefully some buys at that area. From a trending perspective, I quite like the idea of a break to the downside and some pullbacks there. So yeah, that's kind of how I see Euro Pound right now. But I'm not quite happy with the price action in the middle here. A lot of fluctuation, a lot of wicks, no consistent momentum or direction. So I will have a tough time if I want to try and trade inside there. So because of that, I would stay away. Anywho, we'll go through Euro Yen and Pound Yen next. Yusuf, I believe so, but I can quickly go through that if you want to. Actually, no, I looked in the hourly chart, but yeah, I can take a look in the 15. As for Euro Yen and Pound Yen, let me know what time frame you're referring to with the demand zones, so I can be a bit more precise. But in terms of the analysis behind Euro Yen and Pound Yen, well, Euro Yen I'm still pretty bullish on. We've had a bit of trouble at highs, so that's kind of put a damp on things a little bit with the buys, but nonetheless the trend is still up, momentum's still up. I wouldn't be looking to sell the pair, that is for sure. So I am still pretty bullish on Euro Yen. Of course, do I see a buy opportunity to take advantage of this? No, not really, because of where we're trading. If I want to try and take a buy here, I'll need to drop really intraday and maybe look for some pullbacks to an area like this to take a buy. That's probably like on the 15-minute chart. I mean, if you are on the 15, you might find some success there. So like if you would see a pullback, something like this, I quite like this push up, very, very strong. Another pullback, perhaps catch another high low. Price has been really consistent with all these high lows here. Perhaps catch another one of them and then yeah, ride it back to highs. So that could be an opportunity, but again, intraday. Again, nothing wrong with intraday, just I trade most of my efforts are on the 4-hour chart. So for me, on the 4-hour time frame, I don't see much of a trade here. We're already within reaching distance of major resistance. Maybe if we do see a breakout and then price does pull back, that could be something to talk about, because of course this will suddenly become support and we can base a trade from that. So I think that might be the next swing trade to look into. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Euro Yen. Maybe we do bounce to the highs again, but I do think the bigger move is likely to see us take this high out at some point in time, which is also why I like Pound Yen, because I do think Pound Yen is just lagging behind Euro Yen. Quite some distance, by the way. You know, I'm expecting price to eventually break resistance here, and this is the high I'm expecting Pound Yen to push to, 207.9. And we've got about, I think it's what, like 800 pips, I think. I measured the distance a while ago. Yeah, about 800 pips to the high. Even if you can just take advantage of 100 of that, you know, you're still looking at a decent opportunity, especially if you position yourself well with a decent risk. You could be looking at some decent trades there. It doesn't have to be the whole swing. It can just be a small piece of the pie. But yeah, Pound Yen, this, if it does break to the upside, I do see a lot of opportunity here. So I will be keeping a close eye on this one as we progress. But a push to 207.8 will very much be the plan here. In terms of demand zones, I wouldn't really be looking to try and find any buys here just yet with Pound Yen, because we are testing resistance right now. Of course, it looks like maybe we're seeing somewhat of a breakout, but again, I wouldn't get too carried away. This candle still does have 2 hours and 30 minutes before it does close. Price could very much find resistance and roll back over. So I will be looking for a convincing move to the upside, a convincing break before I do get excited with the buys again. Then of course, this becomes a really nice buy opportunity on a pullback, and we take it up from there. So there is a lot of potential in pound yen, not so much in euro yen because we're about to approach major resistance, but pound yen is lagging behind a lot. Euro's been a lot stronger than pound. We just had a look at euro pound. Euro's been up relative to pound. So I do think pound will switch roles with euro at some point, and we'll see a lot of strength in pound yen, as long as yen is weak too. Let's not forget about that. But yeah, if we can see a break, I do like the buys on this one. But still too early to say because we could still fall from here. Hopefully we can see a breakout, because I've been waiting for that for a good few weeks, really, months as well, to be honest. Okay, yeah, Yusuf, we can take a look at gold on the 15. No problemo. CS Integrated, what's up, my man? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing good. My 97.4. Okay, cool. Still long, still hold. Lucky me. Fair enough. Okay, we'll take a look. Yeah, DXY's just been atrocious, to be honest. It has been up and down, up and down. 2 hour time frame, King. Yeah, from a 2 hour time frame, I wouldn't be looking to buy pound yen at all, because we're trading resistance here. So the fact we're 2 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, 15-minute doesn't really change much because of where we're located, which is major resistance. You know, price could very much bounce and reject this level and push back down again. If you're looking for buys, pretty much any time frame, you do need to see a sustained break of this resistance, and then we can look for a pullback. Yeah, see a big break and then we can look for a pullback. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not seeing much opportunity here at all. And same thing goes for euro yen as well. Anyway, let's go through gold on the 15. We can take a look at the DXY position. Are you still going to look to hold that CS integrated and just see the position out, or do you have another plan up your sleeve? So yeah, gold 15. So yeah, we talked about some buys yesterday for gold at this area here as price swept the lows. Really nice place for a buy, kind of just giving us the flag pattern. One push down, second push, then find the buys to take it up. Really nice move off the back of that, and of course price made its way back to resistance at 36.55. Really nice move there. Now, of course, gold is still very much a bullish market, and we can still easily see higher prices and price, rally through the highs here. But if I'm looking to trade gold, and if I want the best place possible for the buy, it would be back down in this area, 36.13, or maybe the demand zone here, just below 3600. Really nice range there. Spat out a lot of momentum. I wouldn't mind price pushing towards that area for a buy and then looking for an opportunity off that low. But I like this area here, basically repeating the pattern we just saw. Push down, sweep the lows, push up, sweep the lows, push up. That's where I want to position. I can see prices respecting this, but would I be looking to try and long that? No, not really, because where we're located doesn't make too much sense to me. In the middle of all this noise, in this mess, not the best place for it. I wouldn't be looking to sell either, to be honest. I know we got some nice resistance at the high there, but I wouldn't really put my eggs in that basket just because of looking at the higher time frames. It's always going to be a difficult short to short gold right now. So yeah, 50-minute chart, this is still an area which I would consider. Maybe if we do break highs here, we can speak about some pullbacks afterwards. Something like that could make sense. At least this will become support. At least we're seeing convincing momentum above highs. That will put the buyers back in control. And yeah, at that point, probably new highs are likely. So yeah, I can see the buys there. The logic makes sense. But unless we get the break to the upside, if price keeps respecting highs, I would wait for a much deeper push back into 36.13 or push into 35.96. But yeah, very bullish for gold. You can see momentum still up. Yes, very overextended. Price is probably due a pullback soon. But the thing is with gold, we could always push a little bit higher before that happens. Maybe 3,700 could be could be an area to look into. 3,750 would be a big one. I would argue 3,750 is probably the next big psychological level since the high formed back here at 3,500. Because if you look at 3K, then you got 3,250, then you got 3,500, and you got 3,750, and of course you got 4K. So 3,750 would mark the halfway point from 3K to 4K, which I think is a pretty significant jump. Because we've just consolidated underneath 3,500 for about what 3-4 months, something like that, and now we've just seen a breakout. We've already made half the distance between 3K to 4K, or I mean half the distance from 3,500 to 4K. A lot of numbers there. But yeah, I'll probably say that's the next big psychological level. So maybe from there is where we see the next retracement. Price has been respecting psychological levels pretty well, to be honest, recently. So I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, at the moment, still bullish. Gonna expect price to go high. Until I see some red flags with gold, my safe bet is higher prices. Okay, cool. Still gonna hold. Stop loss 97. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, as long as you're not betting the farm on the trade, then you know there's no harm taking a loss. And of course, if you do respect your stop loss, you give yourself the best possible allowance to make to potentially capitalize on the move you're banking on. Because the drawback of closing trades too early, not too early, but closing trades before they hit your stop loss, is the risk that price could potentially turn around and could actually be a winning position. There are times where I do close the trade early and that same trade does become a winner. Of course, I will close for good reason because it's likely going to be a loser, but of course you can't predict the market. So even when things are likely, sometimes it doesn't happen. So there will be times if you do close a trade early, it could very much well turn it into a winning position. But of course, you're kind of looking at it from a long-term point of view. You know, if I do this over 100 trades, will it save me more money than lose me money? If you're expecting it to save, then you still take the action. But there will be some trades that, of course, will turn around and hit the TP, unfortunately. But yeah, if you respect the stop loss, you give yourself the best chance. Less stress as well, because you got your stop loss in. Let the market do its thing. You're not trying to micromanage, so you don't need to worry too much. As long as you're not betting the farm, let the market do its thing. It will stop you out, or it will go to your profit. That way, you're kind of not too hands-on and a little bit less stressful, I feel. Take profit 98.2 still. Is that more or less the high of the range? Nope, that's more or less center. So you're not asking for too much, to be honest. Not asking for too much. Oh, just that's unfortunate because price wasn't too far away from there. It got to what, 98.76. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, if we can still hold into support here, I can see us turning around. It's if we start breaking through this low here. I mean, we could still technically bounce to there as well, but I wouldn't be as confident. We'll see. I mean, your stop loss is in a pretty safe place. You said 97, I'm pretty sure, which is underneath the low here, underneath that low as well. So giving yourself more than enough room to see that out if we are going to make a push to 98.2. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what digs why. It's been all over the place, so difficult to trade, but as long as you're buying low and selling high in these conditions, you're positioned well. Of course, whether the trade is successful or not, that's anyone's guess. But if you're buying low and you're selling high, you're doing good in terms of putting yourself in a good position. And I think that's more or less what you're doing here. Hey, live from Philadelphia. 215. Good morning. What is up, Jace? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Leslie, yen basket, please. No problem. We can take a look. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. If there's any pairs that have not gone through, if I've just forgotten or missed out, let me know. But yeah, sometimes I do forget to go over some pairs. So yen basket is interesting. Last time I saw, it looks like we've got a bit of weakness going on. Yeah, we do. Just a little bit there, but we are pushing directly into support, so you can't get too excited because price could very much bounce at this level here. So yeah, I wouldn't be too excited with that weakness this morning because we could very much turn around. But of course, if we expand and look at the higher time frames, this move isn't just in isolation. If you look at the context, we have been falling for quite some time, pretty much since the high of 9th of April, more or less. Price has been on a downwards turn, so we could very much just see this trend continue. If that means it does continue, that means all the yen pairs are likely to rally. Pound yen is likely to push up. Euro yen is likely to push up. Of course, you name it, likely to push up as well. But yeah, I can't say too much right now because I'm still very much looking at this as a range. So because of that, I will be very neutral with yen for now, at least on an intraday, intra-week basis, because we're just fluctuating here. Of course, long-standing we're bearish, but we need that support to break to reinstate that bias, reinstate that trend, and then bet on more downside. And of course, maybe price is going to go take out these lows here around 6,100. And maybe push to 6K. That'll be a big psychological level. So yeah, yen for now, still weak in general, but we are pushing to areas of support. If not the support level we're pushing into now, you could say we're pushing into this area here too as well. So yen basket, maybe some short-term buys could make sense, but yeah, I'll be cautious with that. I'll be cautious. All right, take care, Yusuf. No problem, man. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you next week. And guys, I'm going to take a short bathroom break, and I'll be back in a second, so do not go anywhere. But give me a minute. Alright, we are back. Apologies, but I'm not gonna lie, I was bursting for a while, so I had to go. Anyway, back to the chart. So, going into the new week, I think we're going to take a look at some weekly candles because that will give us some guidance in terms of what price is potentially going to do next week. And I've been speaking a lot about the weekly candles on the dollar, And it looks like, I mean, this week's kind of not going to provide as much, to be honest. I'm seeing wicks in both directions. But the previous weeks still, of course, had the wick to the upside. So naturally, I would have a bearish bias in us pushing back into lows. And looking at Euro USD, I think we can probably conclude the same bias as well. A lot of wicks to the downside. I think the probability does lie with a push here. And my thinking basically is, if we are going to push low, it's going to take a lot of strength to see that. I think the more likely move will be a push up before we do push down. So I do think price can rally. I do think price can push up first, which might mean, of course, we're probably going to take up the highs. Then maybe price does push down because we are looking fairly tired. This uptrend has been going on for quite a while, but it looks quite tiresome to me. So I do think price can turn around and see a push back down again. And pound USD likewise as well. A lot of wicks to the downside, not as much as euro, I would say. Lovely week last week though, and you can see how the wick just took out all those weekly lows prior to that. Now looks like we're trying to hint at a continuation and probably push back to highs. So looking at USD pairs, especially in the higher time frames, it is hinting towards more of a bearish bias. Like I said, I don't really see an opportunity to short it just yet. For example, yes, we might be looking to head low, but is there a good trade to take? I'm not too sure there is in terms of actually shorting the dollar here. At support, as I said, we want price to be below that before looking to take any shorts, and looking for some pullbacks after that will look good. Dollar CAD, as I've been mentioning, I quite like the shorts on this one, so I'm keeping a very close eye at that resistance at 1.392. But yeah, we're still not any closer to that area. So I do wonder if I'm probably going to miss this opportunity. Maybe the head and shoulder is going to come into play. If it does, it does. I mean, there's a nice counter trend here. Could be an idea to wait for the break of that before shorting, but stop loss might be a bit awkward. So if we do catch a break of that, entries there, stops above the high. Not looking at the best risk reward, although you're probably likely to catch that move there, which could look like a 1-to-1. But yeah, my plan A is definitely a push back to the high, and then hopefully some shorts there for a push down. Eric, Euro yen, okay. As I said, Euro yen looking really bullish. I'm not seeing much for an opportunity here. Maybe some shorts at the high could make some sense. Of course, price is approaching major resistance. Maybe price does bounce at the high and we do see a push down. But yeah, I do think price is likely to break higher. I do have that level there on the daily chart, which I do see price pushing towards. I do think price is likely to break this level and push to that area. I think the better short would be at the highs here. Of course, this is more of a swing opportunity. So yeah, Euro yen, I do think likely to break the highs. Maybe not on this attempt. It's always difficult to predict when it will break. You know, it could break now. It could fluctuate for a week or two, then break. So I wouldn't say we are going to break now, which is why in the meantime, if price rejects well, there could still be some selling opportunities like we saw at the start of the week. There could be another push down. But I would keep it short term. That would be my thought process, because I'm seeing these high lows. I'm seeing momentum pick up with the buyers here. You know, I wouldn't really want to be going against that, especially taking into consideration the higher time frame trend and what price has been doing for the past few months, which is seeing a lot of aggressive momentum to the upside here. So I would actually keep an eye on a buy here, actually, to be honest. If we get another push down to this low, you know, another push into that area, trend line confluence back at support, maybe spike the low, I do think we can see a push back into resistance. I think that would be a smart trade, really, because at least with this, you've got the advantage of trading in favor of the higher time frame trend. You're trading from a smart area. If price was to break through that, that'll be more of a bearish signal, so you're kind of at a nice critical point, and you're not looking at such a small move. A push from here to there is a pretty decent move to take advantage of, and maybe if you're lucky, you can hold for a breakout as well. So from a buyer's perspective, that looks good. Also from a buyer's perspective, keeping it very simple, if price does break resistance and see new highs, that would also be a nice place for a buy as well. So yeah, pretty bullish on Euro yen. Could be some short-term sells at the high, but I see this pushing higher, so I'd rather be a buyer for this, whether we're breaking highs and we're pulling back to retest it, or coming back to 172. Either which way, smart places for a long, and you're still taking advantage of what the narrative is of Euro Yen, which is an extremely bullish market. Looking at the bigger picture, looking at the current picture, everything is up. So I think buys is definitely a safe bet. But yeah, it looks like, of course, if the yen is going to drop as well, we had a look at the yen basket. If price is going to break the downside for the yen as well, then that should help. That should help Euro Yen push up. Another yen pair which I quite like the look of. So I spoke about CAD yen buys. I spoke about dollar yen buys. Sorry. I spoke about dollar yen buys earlier. I quite like the dollar yen buys, and I quite like CAD yen buys. I do worry if I've missed both of them, to be honest. And again, I say missed in terms of I might have missed the move, not necessarily missed a trade that fits the plan. There's a big difference between the two. I haven't missed the trade that fits the plan, but again, the move might still occur without me. But for for CAD, I'm looking for one more move down into lows here. I wanted to see price spike below before I do bet on a buy and take it back to resistance here. This is what I was mentioning yesterday. We were trading around here, not too far away from that possibility. Of course, we're seeing some strength this morning. I wonder if maybe price is now going to rally. That could be the case, but I am still looking for the same position because that's where I want to find my entries. That's where I want to put my stops, and that's where I want to bet on a buy. So yeah, CAD yen, see whether we get there or we don't. If we don't, then no trade. If we do, great. And dollar yen, as I mentioned earlier, I quite like the buys for this one as well. But again, at the low of the range down here. So if dollar yen can push down here, reject well. Again, the rejection is going to be key. It's not just because price is there, I will just automatically buy. Price has to show good signs of rejection there. Then I can take my trade and hopefully swing it back to resistance, and so on and so forth. What's up, Lighten? There is one pair I want you to just open at the last. Today, I'm not trying to open those trades. Okay. So you don't want to accidentally force any positions. Is that what USDs are? Ends the USD. Taking some guesses there. I bet it's dollar pair though. Or was it euro pound? You sometimes mention euro pound as well. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs for now. I like dollar yen, I like CAD yen. Euro yen's not bad. The setup I just mentioned is actually not bad. But I like dollar yen and CAD a little bit better. Russian wall looks good. Pound waiting for the breakout. Aussie yen, of course, we've just seen a sharp breakout there. So price is looking pretty bullish right now. There's not a lot to do here apart from wait for pullbacks, really. It looks like we've basically just gone through a big reversal of this trend here. And now price is set to continue higher. We've got resistance up at the highs there. Looks like that's where price could be headed. So just keeping it simple for Aussie yen. Looking for another pullback and then another push to the high. So more upside there for Aussie. And as for NZD yen, this one's a bit more tricky. It looks like we are reversing because this doesn't look like a pullback to me anymore. We had some really nice lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4 there arguably. But it looks like we've kind of broken away from that. And we're seeing more of a consistent bullish move here. So because of that, I do think price is probably likely to push back to highs here. And push back into resistance at 89. Yeah, but I'm not convinced with a buy there. I would rather buy Aussie yen. I'd rather buy the other yen pairs we just mentioned. New Zealand not looking great, but I do think higher prices are likely. And Swiss yen as well. This one pushing higher, very consistent higher lows here. As we can all see there, very, very consistent. Love and life, pushing back into resistance again. Looks like to me we're probably likely to break out resistance here at 185.958. I think with this uptrend here, price is just kind of squeezing between resistance and support, and eventually going to do something like that. Because again, let's not forget, this is a very bullish market on numerous time frames. I say numerous, pretty much all time frames, all the major ones, monthly, weekly, daily, all pointing up. This is all-time highs, of course, at some point the market is going to run out of juice and have that bigger pullback. But still, let's not get too carried away with ourselves here. Let's not try and bet on highs here, because it will be very, very difficult. So yeah, I do expect a lot more upside. What's that? MZN at the very last. I don't think I've ever looked at that. Do you know what currency that is? MZN. I'm intrigued. And USDs are too. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look. No problem, Leslie. Happy to help. Currently in a buy position for franc yen. Okay, nice. You're looking good then. Please check out dollar CAD short and Aussie long. Okay, yeah, we can take a look at that as well. But yeah, Swiss yen looking pretty good. I would imagine maybe some targets back at the high then. 185.958 maybe, around there. Or maybe you're looking to try and capitalize on a breakout. Trail some stops. Either way, you're positioned well. Very bullish trend. Market's likely to continue. Especially seeing some strength this morning. So you're looking pretty good. But I am interested. I mean, we'll take a look at the loss, as you mentioned, Lighten. But I'm interested to see what pair that is, because I don't know that currency pair. Oh, okay. USDs are looking bearish. Didn't see much of a bounce, to be honest, and looks like price is breaking through. Okay, so that puts to bed the bullish bias, and looks like the sell bias is now coming into play. A push to 17.04. This is where I've been expecting price to get to ever since we had that kind of violent rejection, because I wasn't convinced that this trend is going to continue anymore. So back to key lows is where I've been expecting price to get to. But now that we've broken through support here, now we've got the green light to actually take some shorts again, because I wasn't convinced about shorts here. I know resistance that held pretty well there in hindsight, but it wasn't really a significant level. So this was more so the area I wanted to break, and now we can be looking for pullbacks to retest this area for a sell. I probably would want a bit more downside before looking at pullbacks, but essentially this is the plan. This, of course, becomes a nice area of supply as well. Brief consolidation, nice push to the downside. Hopefully a nice place for our shorts. And of course, you've got the confluence of the key level in that area, 17.477. So yeah, more downside for USDZR. I do still see this heading a lot lower. And 17.04369, I think that's where price can make its way towards. So yeah, pretty bearish on USDZR at the moment. In terms of USD CAD, I'm looking to short this one as well. I do have a pretty bearish bias on dollar CAD. It's just I might not get the opportunity I'm looking for. I'm looking to try and catch some highs here at 1.392 to take it back down, and then hopefully a push to the low there. We are quite corrective now, so if we don't get the push to the high, what you could look for is basically the head and shoulder pattern playing out, and maybe waiting for a break of the counter trend line, an entry like this, then taking that to the low. I think that could make some sense there. So you've got the counter trend line, the break to the downside, then a continuation to the low. This is the opportunity I'd rather wait for and rather take, because of where I can put my stop loss and the entry and just being in the best position possible. But yeah, I do agree with the bearish bias. This is really corrective as well, so it doesn't make me believe that price is going to reverse. This looks like a pullback for us to continue lower. So I quite like what we're seeing here, and I'm expecting us to continue that. Aussie dollar, I was actually looking to short Aussie dollar at the highs here, but it doesn't look like we're getting that, especially with the breakout there. So if you're looking for some longs in Aussie dollar, this of course is the area which we want price to pull back into, respect and continue, especially from an intraday bias. If I dropped like an hourly chart, because yeah, looking at the 4 hour probably won't give you the best risk reward. Even hourly might not be the best. Maybe like a 30 or 15 minute just to really take advantage of that opportunity. But a very strong break. If it's nice and slow and corrective, we start bouncing at this zone. Of course, prior resistance will be turned support. It will be a smart place for a buy. I'm still keeping an eye for the sell. If this is going to be potentially a bit of a fake move, a bit of a fake out, and price does come back underneath this high, I am still interested in the short. But a lot needs to happen before I do get that. For now, this is not bad buy opportunity back to resistance, and then we'll go from there. But intraday, sure, I quite like the buys. And let's take a look at that MZN USD. Oh, okay. Is it cryptocurrency? I thought it was what in the name? This is looking like, I don't know what it's looking like, but it's not looking healthy. Let me look at a different brokerage. Let's go Bybit. Okay, is this the same one? I don't know if it's the same one. MZ, is it MZD USD? No, that's MN. That's MC. I'm not seeing any MZD USD. I'm seeing MC, I'm seeing MN. Yeah, I'm not seeing any MZD. I don't know if that's a typo, Lighten, or you're just looking at something that's very, very niche right now. Yeah, I can't see it, my man. I can't see it. Unless I'm blind. I don't think I am. So yeah, I can't see the pair. I mean, I guess you won't be taking any positions then. Your wish has been answered. Because I'm not seeing any of those. I'm not seeing that currency pair or cryptocurrency at all. It's a MZ and USD. Oh, USD ruble. You're looking to trade dollar against the Russian ruble. What's got into you, Lighten? What's going on? I've never traded this before, but I don't see myself doing that. I mean, I like where we're traded. I do think there's more upside here. Taking out that low kind of ball shape pattern, really aggressive sell-off, big recovery. I'm looking at us doing something like that, really. Maybe push back into here, then I buy. But yeah, I wouldn't be looking to trade the Russian ruble. I'll tell you that for free. Just in terms of spreads, I bet the swap is going to be absolute pain. But yeah, I wouldn't mind that, to be honest, the pullback, then a buy. So yeah, I would be bullish on this one. But yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing trading this, to be honest. But hey, if you can make money on it, then who am I to talk you out of it? But yeah, that's what I'll be looking for. Pull back to this area, another high low, another one of these, and then hopefully a buy from that, maybe a retest of the high. But yeah, not a fan of Russian ruble. Not necessarily the pair itself. I mean, it doesn't move necessarily smooth and can be quite erratic, but conditions aren't great. Which is why I stopped trading exotics a couple years back. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I will be live again next week, as always, Monday to Friday. So if you have enjoyed the stream and want to see more, make sure you do tune in every weekday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. If you haven't checked out the competition yet, I'll drop the link in the chat. Again, it's a trading competition on the Perps platform, just a bit of fun, get involved. And there will be cash prizes for the best performing traders there. So win-win situation, have some fun, potentially make some money as well. And what was I going to say? If you haven't checked out the Perps platform, I have linked it at the top of the chat, so you can't miss it. Check it out. And again, there's a demo environment there, so you can trade around, test out for fun before you do go live. So check it out if you haven't done so already. But before you do leave, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. And make sure you do hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And make sure you do share it with your friends as well. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. As always, I will be posting my weekly analysis on the weekend. So recapping this week, forecasting the next. So do make sure to keep an eye out for that video. But nonetheless, enjoy you guys' day, enjoy the weekend. And of course, as always, I'll catch you all in the new week. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Eggsy, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI